family must miss you. Let's find them and get you back to safety. All right, run these numbers through the nav cards.
Sweetie, your good cop is chilling.
Look, I just wanted to say thank you for all of the comments y'all put on my cosplay post. And for those of you who took the time to ask, yes, I am pregnant. Thank you for asking. With ideas. Hi, I'm Kitty Monk, and I'm here to talk to you about the Venture Brothers, or more specifically, the show's main antagonists, the Monarchs, the mighty Monarch, and Dr. Mrs. the Monarch, or Dr. Girlfriend if you watch the first 2 seasons, but this is my first Venture Brothers video. I should give some background. Venture Brothers takes place in a world where heroes and villains live in harmony by arching each other. 98% of the time, there are no hard feelings. When they do this, it comes with the complicated bureaucracy and paperwork of the Bureau for the Recently Deceased. The show follows former child star Rusty Venture, which is also the name of a depraved act, and his sheltered AF sons, Hank and Dean, the Venture Brothers. Hank is the one who looks like an older Bobby Hill, BTW. Now, I spent a good long time thinking the show wasn't such a hot tamale. Until about a month ago, I only watched like 2 or 3 episodes, and it's only because I was away at college and did not have a smart TV, so I was forced to watch them. Granted, I did like what I saw, I just never got around to seeing the show in full. But because of all of the ads I'd been seeing on Adult Swim for the finale movie, which I record this on the Friday night it aired, and it was pretty good, I realized, fine, everybody is talking about it, I should get around to streaming the show. I started binge watching the show on YouTube TV, and 2 weeks later, I realized, holy crap, I was so wrong, the show is amazeballs. Why did I wait so long? What the fudge is wrong with Adult Swim? Why did they cancel this? What changed my mind, you may ask? Sheila, aka Dr. Girlfriend, Dr. Ex-Girlfriend, Dr. Fiance, Dr. My Wife, and later, Dr. Mrs. the Monarch. For the sake of spoilers, let's say if you want to watch this video, be sure you watched up to season 4 at least, if you want to. And yes, I know Sheila has a title, but I'm gonna alternate between all of her names just to make it easier on myself. I'm also gonna do the same for the Monarch. Sorry. So, let's discuss. Malcolm, aka the mighty Monarch, is the main enemy or guild-approved arch of the Venture family, and he hates Rusty for reasons. Reasons they don't really make clear, which in most other shows would make him seem like a lazy character. Here, it just works to show how pathetic he is.
What's your problem with our dad anyway?
Well, he's my nemesis. Come on, I'm sure the walls of the Venture compound are practically caked with the lingering curses of the Monarch's name.
I've never even heard him mention you.
Malcolm's whole gimmick is that he dresses up like a giant butterfly because they raised him, get this, in the New Jersey Pine Barrens after a tragic plane crash. I know, but it gets better. He's from Newark, New Jersey, and his plane took off from Newark Airport.
My parents' private jet crashed in New Jersey's fabled Pine Barrens minutes after takeoff from Newark Airport.
Oh my god, you have no idea how happy I am. I finally feel represented. Screw Encanto, I finally feel represented. Wait, that's not fair. My niece loves that movie. But it's like his house. That's a real place. It's by RUN. It's called the Kruger Mansion, and I think they literally just finished restoring it. It's like, I'm so sorry if I keep gushing. It makes me so happy.
I mean, what kind of supervillain lives in Patterson, New Jersey?
Yeah, you're one to talk.
Please, Newark trumps Patterson.
At least he didn't have to go to Irvington or Camden. Anyhow, despite his weird gimmick, the Monarch is often assisted in his schemes by his henchmen, the Fluttering Horde, who I all thought were bees, and his smoking hot girlfriend turned wife, Sheila, with her smoking hot voice.
Wrong, Mr. College.
Buddy, what are you going on about?
Shh, don't call me that in front of the henchmen. Keep it professional.
Next to Peter and Billy, who are not a couple except to Billy's mom, the Monarch and Dr. Girlfriend have probably the healthiest relationship in the entire show, but not without their bumps in the road. They met through a mutual boss, Phantom Limb. Both worked under him, and they were miserable and unfulfilled. The Monarch was one of his henchmen, and Sheila was, Basically, his Harley Quinn.
So now you're number twoing for...
Phantom limb, yeah, if you could even call it that. I don't do anything. I just stand around in this skimpy outfit and...
Look amazing.
Which is not what she wanted. She wanted to be a number 2, to a villain, feared, respected, worshipped even, just as she was under Trucules and when she was on her own as Lady Au Pair. But Phantom Limb wanted her to be his Queen Etheria, nothing more than a trophy who stood around and looked pretty. At a party, the Monarch and Sheila met, and he complimented her.
I can't believe he treats you like that. I mean, you are like the most capable villain in his whole room.
What do you think?
Oh, I know.
Don't worry, I'll get to the voice, cool your jets. What I find most interesting is initially, I feel like the Monarch just said that to get into her pants, or whatever that thing is on her costume. Seriously, how does it even work? Like, what if she has to use the bathroom?
I shall don the colors for love. As a henchman, she is forbidden fruit. But as the Monarch, she is easy pickings.
But after doing the dirty, Sheila started to provide some ideas to help better himself as a villain, as he was just starting out.
Double meaning to the word. You should work with that.
Like a king. Like the king of the butterflies.
Instead of a cape, why not wings?
Hey,
You know, you're a super villain. You
course,
should
I
just be
got-
going
I
nuts
think of
with
it.
this thing.
Keep in mind that the Monarch is somebody who hates being criticized, and he actually appreciated what Sheila had to say, or that she would be willing to make stuff for him.
I could design you some functional lightweight wings that would actually work.
You would do that for me?
That's super major. It pretty much set the tone for their whole relationship. Think about it. Unlike Broadway Beetlejuice, the Monarch is not a very attractive man. He has a cottage cheese behind, giant eyebrows,
Eyebrows. Wow.
and although he is ripped once that costume comes off, that does not make up for his character. Fear him, Theseus! He is the mighty Minotaur! Besides that, he's petty, obnoxious, and sounds like a cheese grater against a chalkboard. But he knows Sheila is a smart and capable woman, and compared to Orpheus, an actual doctor, who just happens to be busty, and therefore, he is willing to listen to her and treasure her advice. It's no wonder she left Phantom Limb, despite only knowing Malcolm for like 5 minutes.
I'm not coming back to the party, Hamilton. I'm not coming back ever!
Okay, with that out of the way, I can finally get to the voice. If you notice, Sheila does not sound feminine. I mean, come on, she's voiced by crew member Doc Hammer, a man.
Miss?
Oh, pants, Lady
my
O'Pants.
gracious.
Lord,
Wow, feminine.
that's a voice. Do you smoke cigarettes or do you eat them?
Oh, forget it.
And this is for 2 reasons. One, she's based on Jacqueline Onassis.
Who the hell is Jacqueline Onassis?
Well, I think she's somehow related to Jackie Kennedy, but I don't know how. Apparently, Jackie O had a deep, husky voice, despite her appearance suggesting otherwise. The second reason is that she apparently smokes like a chimney.
It all makes sense. The filled ashtrays, the burning pine-scented hairspray.
Yes, I'll say it. Her 3-pack-a-day voice?
Just so you know, Sheila really is a woman, in the sense that she's cisgender.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, I belong in here. I just have a deep voice.
Okay.
Sorry to disappoint, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. And I can see how Sheila makes a good trans icon. Ever since I've gotten to YouTube, and maybe because I have to filter out the background noises, people have said I sound like a boy. You sound like Derek from Disenchantment. You sound like Carl Weezer. Are you gonna buy the number 15? Oh, you sound like you're on puberty blockers. Look, for people who ask, I'm sorry to disappoint you, I'm not trans. I just have a weird voice. That's why I put she, her in my descriptions, because I don't want you guys to get confused. Normally, I don't mind the criticism, but it sometimes gets to me. When I first watched the show, I kept picturing Sheila with a more girly voice, kinda like Triana. But kinda like Tina Belcher, she's like an icon for me. It now feels weird to think of her any different.
I'm sure you want to feature that voice.
Dude, Ixnay on the voice,
I'm not interested in doing a theme based on my voice.
Oh, come
Thank you.
on.
And just because she has a deep voice doesn't mean she's any less capable. She is quite the feminist icon. Okay, now we can get to season 1. These were the halcyon days with their butterfly brethren. In season 1, they work well together as a couple. They have a healthy relationship and they treat their henchmen like children. In a sense, beyond her job being girlfriend, Sheila keeps the Monarch on the straight and narrow of villainy, and to remind him of the brief good in himself. For example, in the pilot, even if she makes the point she doesn't want to have kids, she doesn't mind if he fosters Hank and Dean, the same way the Monarch butterflies did for him. The only difference would be he would not abandon them when the seasons change.
Butterflies only live about 9 months. Those boys downstairs are alive. And you're right, they do need a father. So you go down there and you love those boys and never let go.
I mean, it's not like they're his nephews or anything. The only episode I remember where they fight, so to speak, is in Midlife Chrysalis, where the Monarch sends her in to seduce Rusty, while disguised as Charlene. The plan is for her to get him into bed and inject him with a serum that would turn him into a giant caterpillar, because Monarch! Also, he can electrocute Rusty, because Monarch! However, upon going to the compound, Sheila realizes he's pathetic, probably more pathetic than Malcolm.
Forbid it!
He wouldn't take no for an answer. I have to go.
Not unless you're going to plant a bomb in his car.
It'll look suspicious if I don't.
No wonder when the opportunity presented itself, she did not want to break something in his lab or do it in his bed. After his transformation is nearly complete, she goes against the Monarch's wishes and injects him with a cure.
Could I have one last kiss before I leave?
Well, all right, but don't touch those thick hairs on my back. I think they're my new ears. Ow!
By this point, I think you realize the Monarchs had a pretty good life. That was until The Flight of the Monarch was published. Mecha Shiva! In the trial of the Monarch learns somebody published an embarrassing book about him. Wait, no, this is not a book.
This is a note!
Monarch, you know I can't say that on YouTube. God, you and your over-rantings, you should be in Shakespeare.
Good news! The euthanasia will be carried out by me. The author has 20 minutes to seek my aid before I just kill all of you!
And did he know a henchman was responsible? At first, he's content to just eviscerate who he thinks is the author. That is, until he actually starts to read it. He realizes there's a section on Dr. Girlfriend and her dirty pillows.
And there's a whole collage of you and Phantom Limb!
All right, fine. I used to work for him. So what?
Holy crap! Look at your costume!
Yep, we're talking about this. Despite how great Venture Brothers is in terms of story, the creators have made the point that they make things up as they go along, and nothing is really planned. I don't mind it from what I understand, most writers do that. Heck, to some degree, even I do that. But this is one of those times it's most obvious. As we learn in season 3, they both worked for him. They just hand-waved it away as Hamilton was too arrogant to realize the Monarch was his henchman, or even the guy who stole his girlfriend.
What is your name, you insolent little nobody?
Why, I'm the mighty... Manotaur!
My point is, the Monarch should know she was with Phantom Limb. I guess you could chalk it up to him just being emotional, but hey, worth pointing out. Look, I don't want this whole video to be mindless gushing. Sheila threatens to leave if he doesn't calm down.
I am leaving. If you can't calm down, I'm leaving.
You can't leave! I'm throwing you out! Get out of my cocoon!
You know what? This is another good time for a tangent. In season 4, Sheila accidentally kisses Gary while they're both drunk. Gary spends a few episodes afraid that the Monarch will find out. And when he tattles, he's actually surprised to learn that the Monarch is cool with it.
We're villains, you crybaby! We swing! I've watched my wife suck Manta Claus dry and then make him breakfast.
Is that true? Eggs and buttered toast.
Compare his behavior there to here. I like to think after they got back together that they had a talk about his behavior and agreed that, hey, they were villains and he was overreacting. So long as they're adults about it, they can swing. Wow, is this a sign of maturity from the mighty Monarch? Maybe. Saddened, Sheila goes back to Phantom Limb and resumes assumes her past identity as Queen Etheria.
What are these hard chunks?
My tears.
Tears? You have to be kidding me! You know that sick, deformed slob. You know he was.
Ew! Wait, wouldn't it be invisible? I have questions. Wait, don't answer those questions. Ew! After he cools off, the Monarch goes to Phantom Lim's house to convince Sheila to come home.
I knew you were here! The henchmen were all she went to her mother's, but I knew you went crawling back to him!
You know, I wonder if that's a sign he knows her that well, or if he's just an obsessive weirdo, or both. Unfortunately, poor communication kills, and he ends up calling her in the most loving way possible.
It's because I had you out of that rag within the first 5 minutes of meeting you. I made you the Monarchs!
You are a monster!
All right.
In a way, he's kinda right. Regardless, not cool, dude. Now this would not be a big problem, but somebody just had to call the cops, which once again gives me questions considering how they later established Phantom Lim is supposed to live in a gated community for villains.
Gated community for supervillains. It's like Boca Raton on Halloween around here.
And the guild will cover for you until the police get involved. Why would somebody who lives there call the cops instead of just going outside and saying, "Hey buddy, scram," or something like that? Unless Hamilton was the one who did it to keep Sheila in his corner. Anyhow, the Monarch is found guilty and sent to prison while Dr. Girlfriend stays with Phantom Lim. Wow, this really sets the stage for season 2. How interesting. The only problem I have with this whole plot line is nobody ever actually figures out 21 and 24 wrote the book. They're the ones who started all this, and they pretty much get off scot-free. At one point, to keep from getting overkilled, they blame another henchman, and this is his punishment.
You should have replaced his blood with acid after this part. The sharks won't touch him now.
Lower the giant hair dryer!
kind of feel like this would have been an interesting thing for them to discover. How would the Monarch react to learning his best friend betrayed him? Would he get violent or not care because it was in the past and the experience allowed him to grow up and marry the love of his life? Really, I feel like instead of what happened here, they should have just had a normal reporter publish embarrassing stories on the Monarch, and 21 and 24 don't realize what it is and give intel. And the Monarch gets revenge on that person in not knowing who he is, her family, or maybe her company called the cops. Or have 21 and 24 write a burn book or a story they don't intend to publish and pass it around with the other henchmen as a joke, which the Monarch mistakes for slander. Maybe have Dr. Girlfriend get frustrated with him and be like, "Lady, they're just playing, it's no big deal." Not a big deal, Pookums! Get out of my cocoon, you! Thankfully, in season 2, the Monarch breaks out of prison, Shawshank style, and tries to win back Dr. Girlfriend. Sheila, for her part, seems to have forgotten that Phantom Lim is a sexist, arrogant blowhard. Or she's attempting to look past it because he's an adult.
Oh, I will begin a marinade tonight. Wait, that's awkward.
Phantom, honestly, I am finding this so hard to care about.
Yep, total adult. Once again, he just makes her stand around as a living accessory. Or he talks down to her and bores the heck out of her, especially during this scene here.
My queen has arrived, and bearing wine shandies. Just a little whatnot I picked up in Costa de la Luna.
Imagine if that was the Monarch. All three of them would be talking, not just him. Or Sheila would be in the other room looking up blackmail. One day at the mall, Sheila and Malcolm meet once again.
Hi. I forgive you.
What do you think you're doing?
Butterfly kisses. I learned it in prison.
I can't take it. It's too cute. It's disgusting. I hope he didn't learn such vile things from King Gorilla. The pair talk, and it seems to be going somewhere, but the henchmen get in the way.
Defend your shenanigans.
What do you want?
I want you to grow up, but it's a little late now. I found another.
Who?
Damn well I'm staying with Phantom Lim.
Damn henchmen, they ruin every relationship. So he cuts his losses and tries to take Dr. Girlfriend back to the cocoon.
Can you read my mind?
Do you know what it is that you do to me? Here I am, like a kid out of school, holding hands with a goddess.
You know, I wonder who's the bigger yandere, him or Myra. Things seem to be going stagnant for them, until Henry Killinger comes in, you silly billies. Henry Killinger comes in and goes Killinger all over them. He tries to turn the Monarch into a villain actually worthy of being feared by Rusty. Gary doesn't like this and goes to get Sheila to fix everything.
Oh my god, do you remember Spinart? Yes, I remember Spinart. Spinart was so cool. Just drive.
Kinda like that little kid in a divorce situation who doesn't like what's going on and says, Mommy, Daddy has a new girlfriend and I don't like her. Can you please fix everything? Turns out this was Henry Killinger's plan all along.
What the hell is she doing here?
This woman has come to ask you.
From what?
From loneliness, you silly Billy.
That's private.
Love is not private. Love is to be shared.
Oh, you silly billies. It seems as though his efforts worked, and by showdown at Cremation Creek, they start meeting in a hotel room 3 times a week for gross stuff. Dr. Girlfriend, wonder why, doesn't like being the Monarch's side piece.
Marry me?
Oh, stop it. I'm worn down from all this.
Marry me.
Yes.
Good. Done.
No offense, it feels a little quick, and you literally just got back together, but okay. You do you. You're villains. You know better. Sheila agrees to marry him, provided he follows several terms. The biggest?
I want you to give up this insane grudge you have with Dr. Venture once and for all.
No way! Dr. Venture is my sworn enemy!
Yep, Sheila, I'm sure he will totally follow through and the rest of this show won't happen. But he pinky swears not to do it. And as we know from the Collector, pinky swears are more binding than NDAs or blood oaths.
Okay, you happy now?
The happiest woman alive.
A month later, the henchmen throw him a bachelor party, or a manlerette party. Alright, at least they did not tie the knot right away. And afterwards, they get drunk and unknowingly abduct the Ventures.
This isn't how it looks.
You've got Dr. Venture and his whole family in that cell, and this isn't how it looks.
Well, to be fair, Sheila, it wasn't his fault. Those damn henchmen, they're like kids. To salvage things, the Monarch claims that Rusty is his best man.
You know, I wanted to prove to you I was gonna let bygones be bygones and turn over a new leaf.
And for some reason, Rusty goes along with it. Gotta do the brotherly thing. Wait, what am I talking about? They are not related at all. That's just a stupid fan theory. They look nothing alike. Phantom Limb wants to get revenge against the Monarch for stealing back his girlfriend. But the Sovereign refuses because, wouldn't you?
May I suggest you start a journal? There you could pour out your woes upon the tear-stained pages of Dear Diary.
That is an excellent suggestion.
Angered, Phantom Limb essentially stages a coup. They are about to get married when suddenly Phantom Limb busts in and captures Dr. Fiance. Stuff happens, yada yada yada, and while Phantom Limb gets away, the Sovereign promises that things will be safe for the pair, and they can have a happily ever after. At long last, Dr. Fiance and the Monarch are reunited.
Pookums! Oh, I'm so glad you're... Oh, hi.
No, not yet.
Over here!
Sweetness, there you... Oh, crap. You okay?
Okay, there we go. Now they're reunited. Dr. Girlfriend and the Monarch go on their honeymoon, despite the fact they did not actually marry because the ceremony was interrupted, but they consider themselves married, and that's enough for them. On their honeymoon, Dr. Dr. Mrs. the Monarch tells the Monarch something important.
Sheila, you've been rehearsing this. Monarch,
What?
Fun fact, we never actually learn what she said. Season 3 implies it might have been that she submitted an application to the guild for dualship, especially because David Bowie is now cool with her and presumably owes her a favor. But they never actually say. For all we know, she could have told him she started using a new deodorant. So just tell yourself whatever you want. A rumor I heard, take it with a grain of salt, was originally she was going to tell the Monarch she was pregnant. In season Season 3 was going to lead into a huge plot line about them wondering if the baby was Malcolm's or Hamilton's. I lean on the side of it being true, if only because I think this joke right here was supposed to foreshadow what was to come.
What are you getting at?
That maybe you're hiding something from me? Like a little gift that Phantom Limb left in your oven?
Yeah, kinda glad they never went through with it. I like to think they did after the show though. Babies always seem like a final season type of deal. If you're not careful, it's like the entire show revolves around them, and then it's like things jump the shark if you're not careful. Or they don't show up as often as they should, and then it's like, ugh, what was even the point of having them? In Season 3, the Monarch is put on trial, supposedly for illegally arching Dr. Venture. While the Monarch tries to argue his innocence, his wife backs up his statements, and she's doing a damn good job, because she better. If they fail, he'll be dipped in lava. The floor will be lava.
Hi, honey. I think I'm gonna be dipped in lava.
Monarch, I'm sorry.
Meanwhile, the henchmen and the murderous Muppets, oh my god, these freaking murderous Muppets, restore the cocoon, which was destroyed during the ceremony. Oh yeah, I probably should have said that. I mean, it's not like it gets destroyed all the time. The Muppets, to their credit, even go through the trouble of inviting other people to help expedite the process, like Villains and Brock Sampson, and despite the Monarch being a complete joke amongst villainkind, they all come out in hell, which is very beautiful. Unless maybe they did it for Sheila. I mean, Trucules was there. Didn't she work for Trucules? Then comes the verdict. The Monarchs are surrounded, separated, blindfolded, stripped down to their underwear. And as it turns out, the guild was never actually gonna execute them. This was all a test to see their compatibility for duelship, and they passed with flying colors. Like I said, the Sovereign probably did it out of gratitude. What I like is how the guild even goes through the trouble of essentially remarrying the two. Next to Billy and Pete getting reunited in the flashback episode, it's probably my favorite scene in the whole show. Just the build-up, the music, and everything. They conquered so much just to get to that point. The Monarchs are told by the Sovereign that they must now do their first mission as partners. So they take their sweet revenge on Phantom Limb.
Attack! Kill everyone! God will recognize his own. Mercy!
Monarch! Excuse me?
Oh, sorry, Pookums. Welcome home.
You know, I think this is better than just plain old beating the crap out of him or burning down his house. Do you know how much it sucks to always live next door to somebody you hate? To have to see them day in and day out, just going about their business, to breathe the same air as them. Now imagine if suddenly they took over your house. The place you sleep, the place you feel most safe, where you eat, all that jazz. It would suck. Good thing they burned your bed for good measure. Well, I mean, at one point he does drag it out, so who knows. Admittedly, I guess I could end the video here, but I won't, sorry. The next few episodes feature the Monarch coming to terms with suburban living, which this episode and that one episode of It's Always Sunny was how I felt about living away at a suburban college. Trust me, outside of a really good fish taco place, Caldwell sucks, and that town is full of sheltered racist idiots who go to bed at 7 p.m. The Monarch cannot take living in a gated community. Oh my god, that's probably worse. And he can't take the fact that Rusty's new arch is Sergeant Hatred. I'm not making a joke about that. Granted, we get one of my favorite episodes out of it when the Monarch and the Ventures go to a dinner party that Hatred hosts, and the Monarch just feels so bored by it all. And I don't blame him.
Well, he's having some kind of party tonight, and he was nice enough to invite us. I think we should go.
Yeah, I'll be sure to put that on my to-don't list.
Compared to her husband, Dr. His wife doesn't mind. And let me just say, because I did not bring it up before, I do like how level-headed she is. To the Monarch, arching is personal. To Sheila, it's just a job. I did very much like how in Hate Floats, she essentially taught Hank how to drive stick, because she doesn't like to drive angry, and she's pretty patient with him.
You can do this, Hank. That pedal on your left, that's the clutch. Put your foot on it. Now shift into first gear. See that little diagram on the knob?
Instead of arching Rusty after arching some weird mutant guy, they now have to arch Rusty's parasitic brother, JJ, who by all accounts is a much better arch enemy than Rusty. Oh, look at the Monarch taking revenge on another brother, but he's not related. Anyhow, JJ is rich and successful, and arguably more of a challenge. Hey, maybe a challenge might be harder, but people like challenges, usually. But the Monarch hates it all, and he still doesn't feel fulfilled. Until Dr. his wife says because of a weirdo loophole, he can now go back to arching Rusty. Yay! Status quo is restored! Okay, one final point, and then you can go home. Boo! It's about Dr. Girlfriend. Aw, I cosplayed as her. I bought that on a website. Life pro tip, if you have big thighs, be sure you have pantyhose or double-sided tape or it's gonna fall. Trust me, I know what I'm talking about. And if you're wearing gloves, no, you probably can't use your cell phone. Something I'm sure you've noticed about Sheila is her various outfits that I just want to steal. At the start of the show, she dresses like Jackie Kennedy, despite not knowing who she is. Yet her most iconic outfit is skimpy beyond belief. In the world of comics, female characters dress like fancy escorts, usually because comics are primarily written for boys. It's only nowadays that we've decided they can dress like people. A novel concept, I know. After all, if they're gonna move around a lot and kick butt or maintain a secret identity, why waste time performing feats of engineering fitting into fancy swimsuits? As we learn in season 3, Sheila had a similar mindset and did not want to be known for just her looks. When she was Lady Au Pair, she dressed at her most conservative.
I was thinking of something that plays off my abilities more than my sexuality.
Say no more.
I mean, come on, an au pair is like a child caregiver. You can't really afford to look like this around children. However, when she got to Phantom Limb, she dressed like this, because he did not care about her and he wanted to show her off, meaning it likely wasn't by choice. Perhaps this was another reason she went to Malcolm. She might as well have thought, oh, I sold out working for Phantom Limb, and she always had to wear the proof. After he takes her back at Showdown at Cremation Creek, he even tries to force her to put the costume back on.
What say you slip out of that tacky little white lie? Put on your Queen Luceria costume.
Is everybody delusional today?
Maybe that's why during the first 2 seasons, and some of the third, she dresses in her pink outfit. She went in the other direction. Heck, maybe the skirt's a little short, but then again, within villain standards, it's at least modest. Now, earlier I said that she was kind of similar to Harley Quinn. In Harley Quinn the cartoon, they bring up a similar point in terms of dressing. Season 1 makes the point that Harley did not like wearing the Jester costume. Kinda like the Queen Etheria outfit, it was a ball and chain.
I didn't have fun. You were the one having fun. It wasn't until I got away from you that I realized how deeply unfun being with you was.
When she finally went off on her own, she started to dress skimpy because now she had a choice. That's why I think Sheila wore the Dr. Mrs. the Monarch costume just like that. She was now the Monarch's equal, and she wanted to dress to impress. Besides, it's fun to once again compare the Monarch's reaction to her in that outfit to Phantom Limb. Hamilton wanted her to wear a dress just to get her out of it. Malcolm, while he probably wanted to get her out of it, wasn't thinking, ugh, you're asking for it if you get in trouble. He appreciates it, and he just gives constructive criticism.
Man, oh manatee! I don't want to be picky, but you're gonna trip on those wings. And aren't you a little afraid that your cupcakes might slide out?
And that's the extent. Well, it is quite a healthy relationship, if I do say so myself. The Monarch and Dr. Mrs. the Monarch. An odd pairing, yes, but a welcome one. Why are they the healthiest couple in the show? Isn't it obvious? They respect and care for one another, and they communicate when it comes to matters of the bedroom, appreciating each other's needs. Google Khal Drogo if you want a surprise. Sheila could easily easily go out on her own and strike it big. I mean, she later becomes a councilwoman for the guild for a reason, but she doesn't. Whatever happens, she just wants to support her husband and their henchmen. Also, before I go, I don't think I said it yet. Sorry, I couldn't find a good part to place it. Instead of me saying bye, I'm just gonna include a brief supercut of all of the pet names the Monarch gives her because they are so cute. Okay, roll the tapes.
Baby, oh tenderoni,
Funny face!
precious.
Pookums! Liar!